What do you think should be the appropriate timeframes that an HR manager should create timeline-wise in order to actually okay, let's experiment, i.e. let's do discovery, let's discover the technology, through to selecting and after that integrating? What timeframe should they be planning for?
I would argue that at the moment quite often it's too long. The initial analysis of what is it that we're actually trying to do will always translate into these are our requirements. And then we always advise people to go and have a look in the market and talk to different people about what they're doing and learn about the industry and learn what sort of things can be done. Normally you can accomplish that initial analysis up front internally in 6 to 8 weeks. And you can always go to organisations like Gartner and the Meta Group, research companies that will give you information about what different products are available on the market. And then you can step in and start discussing with key vendors or key organisations that you think might be able to deliver on your requirements. And you're looking at another 6 to 8 weeks. So realistically, within a 3-month process, you can understand what it is you need to do, and you could have worked with some vendors to select an organisation to go forward. So there's no reason why it can't be done within a 3-month period. We're seeing a lot of companies that are taking up to 6 months to get those decisions done because they've got complex stakeholders internally. HR have to deal with multiple and diverse different business groups. And that's where it gets a little bit complex for the organisations themselves. So if you're working with the right partners, organisations like Saba can assist you in that process, and we can understand the diverse needs from within different business groups. And so it's important to work with the vendor that you select as well.
Saba, I believe, is a listed company. Is that right?
You're NASDAQ listed.
Yeah. What's our total revenue? Global revenue?
Global revenue is about 50 million US per annum.
And are you able to disclose how much of that comes from Australia?
Australia's a growing market. We're doing well. We report all our revenue through the US. So currently we account for around about between 6 to 8% of our global revenue.
In terms of growth for the next year, projected growth, what are your targets?
Projected growth, we're looking for around about 30% growth, which is a conservative figure. That's across our entire region in Asia Pacific. We talked specifically about Australia just before. The regions that we manage from Australia include India and Thailand and Malaysia and Indonesia and New Zealand and the Philippines. So, we've got quite a large region to cover.
And total market growth that you think that the region is growing at?
Well, we're doing our numbers around 30% managed growth, which is a significant pace for growth for us, and that's where, we believe even at that rate that, we'll be selectively working with organisations working forward. We won't be looking to try and provide services to every...
Well, what do you think is the whole total market growth in general for e-learning within the region?
For e-learning?
Yeah.
I think the growth for e-learning generally is exponential. I wouldn't even like to try and pitch a figure on it. Most organisations will spend a percentage on their payroll for a training, which is normally going to hover between 5 and 10% as a typical model. Okay. Of that, e-learning is considerably, or is consuming a considerable proportion. But these days with sales budgets, business budgets, people driving e-learning down to achieve business results, the amount of money that is being spent on e-learning is growing at an exponential rate. So the industry itself at the moment, we think globally, is around about a $30 billion industry as a broad human capital management market.
And that's in US dollars or?
US dollars, and e-learning is a very significant component of that and growing at an exponential rate.
Do you have any figures in terms of what you believe the Australian market is or the Southeast Asian market is?
We haven't quantified it, no. And again, it's something that a lot of organisations are working to try and understand. So from a research perspective, at the moment there's a good opportunity to actually go out and qualify it. There's a few different organisations that feel that they do have a handle on that, companies that have worked to understand the market and do research, etc. But I haven't seen anything yet that I'm comfortable enough to say that's a qualified figure as to how much this market's actually worth, because I think it's still an unknown. It's a new market, it's an emerging technology, it's being adopted rapidly, so the growth is significant.
Talking about technology adoption, there's a lot of talk out there in the adoption curve, with the the innovators, the early adopters, the early majority, late majority, and then the laggards. Compile different shares, but the two major shares are the ones in the middle with 34% each. I've been hearing that approximately in Australia, the gut feel, there's no really quantified data or empirical data, but it seems that Australia will be about 10%. Like we've just moved past the the innovators, and we're moving into the early adopters. About 10%, they believe. Do you think that'd be a fairly gut feel percentage?
Yeah, I do. I think we're at the higher end of the early adopters, and that is that I think a lot of organisations have already got e-learning strategies and are implementing and understanding, and we'll see a rapid growth. So I think we're almost at the end of the early adopter cycle.
Why should a company select Saba as opposed to another organisation?
There's three essential reasons. Technology is extraordinarily flexible. You know, we can integrate within any environment, so we're not an impediment, and it's easy to do. The product itself is designed with a lot of customer input, so it's relevant, it's intuitive, and it follows business process. You can configure the product easily and adapt it to suit your needs. And then I guess the third reason is because of our business model. We're very flexible, we're very easy to deal with, and we understand what the client's trying to do. We have a lot of ex-customers in our business, and we are a customer-based organisation, so we tend to be outcome-focused. I think from that point of view, that presents the customer a fairly unique value proposition.